Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. This video is a little bit different than the ones that I normally do on my page. The ones that I normally do are a video of me on my face and on my nano, and those videos will be the most frequent videos because I know what I'm doing on those videos, but I did want to make a change up on the video today and do a new topic. And the new topic is what I've chosen for today is it's going to be 5 things that I'm going to be doing for myself to better myself in 2026. And as you guys probably have heard in my videos, if you haven't heard from my videos, you probably will hear it now, but I am a senior in college, so that means that I'm going to be entering the actual real world in the next 3 months, I guess. And with that comes a whole new set of responsibilities and a whole new lifestyle that only nothing can compare to, honestly. I can't tell you that college prepares you for the real world because what you learn in college is like formulas and just baseline things and stuff that on the job learning is not able to replicate. Or yeah, you're not able to replicate that in your job most of the time. And so that means that I'm basically, yeah, I'm living a new life. So to start off with the top 5 things that I'm doing to make myself better for 2026 is making sure that I'm investing is number one. A lot of people my age don't really invest, and I actually tell some of my friends that they need to be investing even if they don't have a lot of money. Any amount of investing is really good. And for kids my age and the people who don't really have big jobs or any job at all, the 3 accounts that I know that you should be starting at this age right now of 22, and I'm been doing this since I was 18, so I guess I've had some kind of head start, but I don't have a major amount in my account yet because I've only worked 2 internships, and that money just kind of runs away quick when you come back to college after an internship. But the number one count is, of course, going to be the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA is an account where you put the money into stocks or ETFs and things like that, and you're not able to pull any of the money out that is the percentage that you earn. You're able to pull the initial amount you put in the account at any time that you want. You can take the initial amount. If you put $500 into Nvidia or something and it grew to $578, you're not allowed to get that 78, but you're allowed to get that 500 back if you ever want to take it out ever. But the amount invested is what you're not able to take out until you retire. So I guess 65. I'm not very versed in that yet, but I do know about the account. So it's something like that to where you have to put the money in and it'll keep building, compound. And the mistake that I made with my Roth IRA, which is why I'm saying it first, is that you have to invest. For these past 4 years, I just had a Roth IRA and it really wasn't moving at all. It moved up, I think, a total of $10 in like 4 years. And yeah, I just figured out that lately, or I think 2 months ago or last month, that you're supposed to be investing in it. And now my account has gone up about $300 in like a month or two. So it's already way more than what I had, 30 times more than what I literally had in the last 4 years of my life in college. And it might have gotten me some money, but at least I'm learning now before I start hitting my big boy checks instead of, figuring out way earlier when I didn't have big boy checks. So I'm not mad about that. The next thing that you need to be investing in is just your high yield savings account. So the best high yield savings accounts are around 3 to 4%, I'm pretty sure. And I have a account that gives like 3.45 or something percent. And I put that as really just an emergency fund account and then extra money that isn't in my main bank account. So it's really for emergencies for me more than just saving up, but it does compound the most compared to your main bank account. So say you have Wells Fargo or Bank of America or something like that, Chase or something that just has the money. The compound interest on that is really small, and there's basically just no point in spending putting any money in there past what you're spending on like on a day-to-day basis. So your rent and stuff like that, and car, and all that. Whenever the money needs to be put in there, you need to put it in there. But that account with those big banks should never have, the large amounts of money that these high yield savings accounts should have, because that one is going to give you way more interest and it's going to do you much better in the long run. And that is just a smart thing to do. And I figured out after I went to a finance class back when I was a sophomore, and I figured that out. But somehow I didn't figure out that you're supposed to invest in the Roth IRA. But to keep going, the third account is going to be just a normal, stock portfolio. So I use Robinhood, and Robinhood's really good with my stock portfolio because I just see what's happening. And I've gotten a little risky and made some risky things, risky options. Not I haven't options traded, just risky buys on stocks. And some of them have done good and some of them have done bad. And I missed out on decent amounts of money, but I've also gained a good amount of money as well for what I've put in. And just having a stock portfolio with safe accounts and stocks is a much better choice than what I'm doing when I only have one kind of crazy stock right now, but all my stocks are just like, it's not super diversified. And the same thing with your Roth IRA. It should not be super diversified. You should have like two ETFs that don't cross with each other, and then you should have like around two tech companies of your choice, probably. Something like that is a good idea. And that's kind of the same thing you can do in your stock portfolios as well, if you want to do that, just to keep it kind of simple. But I get a little bit more risky in the stock portfolio because I'm young and I don't have a lot of money that can be put into a real big, investments yet. So like I don't have anything in Apple, but I have stuff in like Nvidia because I knew about that a little bit early, relatively early to some people, but that was kind of crazy by me, but that actually was a crazy thing that worked out. And Nvidia 4 years ago it wasn't as big as now, but so it's not that crazy, but Nvidia is one of the ones. Just some of the good tech companies are what you should be choosing though, and then ETFs, so QQQ, VOO, VTI, just things like that, and the Fidelity things as well. And those are some of the things that you should be just looking into to get your money up and your portfolio up and everything like that, so you can be set in life. And then when you're at work and you finally get the big boy job, you should also have the fourth one, which is a 401k. The job can match what you're putting in there and stuff like that, so the contribution amount is really dependent on what you do. I assume I don't know much about 401ks because for some reason I just don't know about them, but I think they match it with whatever you put in to up to a certain amount or something like that for most companies. And you sh- I don't think there's like an option to not do it if you have a 401k. So yeah, you should hop onto that as well, and you'll be able to grow money really quick with all four of those accounts, and you should be set up for a good time for the rest of your life. The next thing that I've chosen to, or number two on the list, is I've chosen to start making reading a higher priority in my life. And reading doesn't just mean reading articles, and that counts as reading still, but not just reading articles and little Instagram captions, but I really mean really reading and looking into things. And the thing that I've made it to become one step further actually has been to read out loud. So my reading comprehension skills are fine, but my talking and my grammar, day-to-day grammar, I feel like it's just lacking. It's not lacking compared to my peers. I talk to my friends and I feel like I'm not saying anything wildly different from them. I don't feel like I'm subpar in the vocabulary. But when you read books, you're able to find words that you're able to add to your vocabulary, and it will also help you with your vernacular as well, if I think that's the right word. And basically, when you're reading, you have to really understand and comprehend the book, and you also have to read at a speed where you're able to say the words. Because when you read out loud, you are able to actually read the words and not skip over them. Because when I read in my head, I just sometimes just start flying over sentences and just not understanding what I'm reading. And that's also an important thing with the understanding that I'm talking about. When you're reading, you have to really kind of figure out the context of chapters. People really just start reading and just start reading the words and forget what they're even reading about. So context really does matter. So when you're reading, always try to remember what the title of the chapter is. If you don't understand the title of the chapter, look it up before you start. And before you start reading the whole chapter as well, you can start also by reading just just skimming over and looking at words in the chapter with a few skims before you start really getting into the chapter. And it can really help with your reading comprehension of just the full chapter. And I think those two things, reading out loud and then getting better reading comprehension and figuring out your reading speed to where you're understanding and comprehending at the same time with comprehension, are three things that are going to be able to help your vocabulary in everyday life, and more importantly in the world where you're in your job. So I'm going into the business world, but I know other people still have to go into worlds where they have to talk, because most jobs you have to talk if you go to college. If you're going to college to go to a job where you don't talk much, then you probably shouldn't have went there. But yeah, just getting better reading skills can really translate to better communicative skills, and when you're able to communicate with people, you're able to get really far. And that leads me into the next take with communicating is, I'm trying to, I think I made a video about this earlier, but it's going to be building more charisma. So how does that relate to five things that I'm doing? This is number three, by the way. How does this relate to the five things that I'm doing to get better in my life? Well, charisma is something that you can build on your own, and it sounds like a word that people don't really know the meaning of, and I don't really know the meaning of it, but I have been looking up people, that I've looked up on YouTube. I looked up charisma on YouTube, and some of the people who have came up, or just one person that I've looked at specifically, is Princess Diana. Princess Diana is somebody with a lot of charisma and a lot of care and pride for what she did. And I'm so sad that she actually died back when she died in 1997 in August. I think it was August 19th or something like that, in the car crash with the driver who was apparently drunk or something, and solo paparazzi, about Princess Diana. That's so sad. But she was one of the most, if not the most charismatic person that I've ever seen on the internet. She The way that she was charismatic was through the way she spoke to people and commanded a room, and really made everybody feel connected with her, no matter how big or small they were. She made everybody feel like they were the same size to her. And if you look at how she talked to people, she'd give people her literal undivided attention. Even if it was just a simple handshake, the simple handshake, she would look you dead in your eyes with a nice smile, and her little head tilt, because she was always looking down at people, because I guess she looked so tall. But she always had a little head tilt. It wasn't a big head tilt, that's why I'm saying it's little, but she had a head tilt. And when she even just shook somebody's hand, she'd show them the world. You could just see in her eyes, she just looked so happy to see you. And that moves on past just shaking hands, of course, but when she was talking to people in rooms, she gave them that undivided attention as well. And no matter how big of the person it was in the room, or how small, like I was saying just earlier, she gave them pure pure ears and pure smile, and gave a voice to everybody in the room. So if there's leukemia patient in the room, or big thing in the 90s was AIDS and HIV, I think those go together or something. I don't know, I'm not a medical person, but she'd go into the room with somebody and give them their undivided attention and let them be heard, and she'd really just light them up. And that's also what somebody like Michael Jackson would do. He was a quiet charisma kind of person, but he also would be talking to people with the diseases, the kids in the room with the diseases, and make them feel heard. And both of these people were doing real good for their communities and doing good with their charisma. And charisma doesn't just have to be talking, but it can be through your actions as well. So if you just want to scoot to the side and let the person in who isn't in the conversation without saying anything, give them a head motion, hey, come in this conversation. This is a moment of charisma. And there's just a lot of ways to build your charisma. And I just think that Princess Diana, if you just look at how she moved in her life, she's the epitome of charisma. And I really just want to give her her shout out right now, because she was really good at what she did. And I'm sad that she passed away. So charisma is definitely going to be my word of the year. And especially as I get into my life, I've just want to follow in her footsteps. So now I'm moving on to number four, and that is going to be my caring for the world. If it's the topic, I don't know how to explain this topic, but just, I guess, moving on from things. So moving on from bad things, moving on from bad situations, moving on from situations that aren't in your favor and you cannot get out of them, or you can get out of them, get out of them. And also, kind of with that, is in the same talk, is not caring or not giving a F. I'm not gonna cuss on the video, but not giving a F. So if somebody wants to stop talking to you and you used to not get emotional over it, or used to get emotional over it, I want you now to not give up F and just get over it. It's hard to tell you how to get over it, but you have to not fall for the temptations, which is really the hard part. As soon as you start falling for the temptations to maybe message the person back or try to get back at them, that's when you're losing the fight. And for a person who doesn't care and gets over it, they just have to take the fight and take it silently and not let their emotions get shown, because like I said, when you show your emotions, you're losing the battle, and you're only going to stay in the state for longer than you should be. So just make sure you try not to care as much and let go of things that are negative in your life, no matter how much you enjoy them. Of course, there's some outliers that are negative. If there's a bad news that happened to somebody or some of your family gets hurt, that's negative. Of course, just drop your family member or your friend because they got hurt or something. But somebody's being rude to you, somebody doesn't want to, message you back, like I've said in my other videos. I don't know if I've said that, but I've gotten frustrated with people because they don't message me back the same way I message them back. And I was just getting mad, and it wasn't making me feel good about myself because I thought I was just doing something wrong, but it was really just they just didn't want to talk to me. And I guess I just had to move on from it. And if you watch some of my earlier videos, I somehow relate everything back to the situation that I'm talking about right now. If y'all just go back in my videos, every one of them would end up about me talking about the same thing and the same person. And that just shows how much I was still kind of stuck on it. But now lately, in this past 2 weeks, I guess, I've gotten a little bit better with it, and I don't just talk about this person as much every day. And it was just on my iPod Nano when I talked about them. But I figured out that if I don't just stick them up on my mind and think about texting that person, that I can get better. And the world could bring me back to this person, the world could not bring me back to this person, but I can't just sit on it now and feel bad for myself, because nothing's going to change right now, and I know that. And if you know something's not going to change right now, it's better to just walk away from it now and figure out a better situation for yourself than be mentally stuck in a trap to where you are just running in a circle in that trap, and you're just forever debt to yourself, and you really think you're in debt to that person, but you're only in debt to yourself. And that's just not that's just not a good state to be in. And I was in that state, and it was over something small and petty, and I'm in college, and it's about to be a blowover in my life if I have a long life, and meet other people, because there's better people for me. And if that person was the best person for me, somehow we'll make a way back to each other. But if something's not to be at the current time, don't stay on it forever, because that's just gonna ruin you. And that's all I have for that topic. I could go deep into that topic, but I think that's all I have to say. Just try not to lose that battle in your head, because when you lose that battle, you start losing your mind. And I don't want anybody to lose their mind over a significant other or anything like that, and go crazy, because I know I don't know people that are going crazy. I know some people have gone crazy, but not super crazy like people in the news yet. But I've seen some of my friends, really lose their minds over something like that. It could be a girl or a boy or somebody like that. So really just don't give up on that, or give up on yourself. And now going on to number 5, it's going to be some ways that I'm going to be improving myself for number 5. I've gone over the other 4, and the number 5, this one's, as you guys know, my videos are freestyle, so it's a freestyle video. So I'm really just freestyling this right now. I didn't even make a preset list, so I'm actually going to be looking at some notes that I had that are going to be helping me. And okay, I found it. Yeah, it's down here. So number 5 on this list is going to be just advocating for yourself. Advocating for yourself is a number one way to get you far in life. Some examples of people advocating for themselves are going to be, I always like to use my example of my favorite artist of all time, but it's Michael Jackson. He he always would advocate for himself to get the best, deals or the best opportunities. So when he did the Motown 25 Billie Jean performance, at first the Motown group didn't want to have it in there because the song wasn't made from the Motown group first of all, and then number two, they just didn't want to have it in there anyway because it was new music and different from, like, it's Motown, so I guess one and two go together. But Michael Jackson basically advocated for himself, saying Thriller is the best album, and I'm not gonna do this or that if you don't let me, do my Billie Jean. And with Michael Jackson advocating for himself over just giving up and not showing that performance, he was able to secure himself a boost in sales that was astronomical with a already going crazy album. As you guys know, Thriller is like the top selling album of all time by a lot. And he was able to just advocate for himself right there, and he got himself on stage. So how does this relate to somebody like you? That means advocating for yourself in situations big or small. So advocating for yourself can mean a lot of things. So number one is, a small thing is could be you're advocating for yourself because you don't feel like you are getting treated fairly. That's actually not a small thing, but you don't feel like you're getting treated fairly by somebody. Advocating for yourself means speaking up for yourself in that situation and saying, hey, I don't like this. Hey, this isn't fair. Hey, look at this situation, look at it through my eyes, and then show them how you are a valuable person and you deserve more than what said person is doing you. They're being rude, boss, manager, friend, dog, cat, grandpa, grandma, aunt, uncle, anybody who's just being mean. Advocate for yourself and tell them, hey, I don't like how you are treating me, and do better for me. Another way to advocate for yourself is by speaking out loud and being more confident in public. So when you go out in public, maybe there's a corporate event or a business event, or like there's school fairs at my college, at every college basically in the United States that's big, at least there's company fairs, and that's the great way to advocate for yourself. When you pull up your resume and you just talk about yourself, you're advocating for yourself right there. So a real world thing, since I'm not in the real world, I don't have many examples, but a real world thing is maybe you're at your job and there's a convention and there's other people in your department, but maybe they're getting paid more or at another side in the company, and you want to get to that side of the company. A good way is to get there and get to that side of the company is talking with the people at that side, and advocating for yourself and becoming more friendly to them, and tell them how you'd love to join the team, and you want to you want to hear if you could talk to them. And if you're at a corporate business event, that's probably what they're trying to hear. Or not, they're not trying to hear that, but they won't shoo you away because it's not some public just event that is going on where they don't want to hear about business. This is already a business event, so you coming there and talking about how you want to be a part of the team and maybe some of the things you've done well, and maybe get the phone number of somebody and drop them your resume and a message, or get their email or something, where you're able to just advocate for yourself and get where you want to be. That's just a great thing to do, and it's a great way to boost your life. And I'm going to be trying to advocate for myself more and more as I get into the business world, and especially since I'm young, it's much harder for me to have any say over people. So I'm just gonna build my skills and just take on more and more projects that I can to show that I'm able to do these things. And then when it comes time to advocate for myself, I'm able to show them my course, my skill work, not my coursework, my skill and past work history and all the extra things that I've done. And it's really gonna be able to help me out in the long run and the short run with upgrading my paycheck every year, which I don't know if that's possible with maybe the job that I'm going to, or if it's possible at any job when you're young to just upgrade it every year. I think it is because you have yearly reviews, but I want to upgrade how much money I make as high as possible for what I can do in a year, and showing them and trying to raise in the ranks fast, and maybe even one day start a business, because when you start a business, you're the boss. You get to make decisions. You hear people advocate themselves to you, and you're able to choose who advocated for themselves the best, and you want them to work for you and be under your wing. So becoming a business person is one of my goals soon. A sole business owner at least, and maybe I'll do that in the next 10 years because I don't know if it's in the near future with the money assets that I need to build up for a company and the idea generation and really putting into action, but it is coming soon. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my Rocket League gameplay in the background. I don't know what I was doing in here, but I did give you the 5 things, and I already can't tell y'all what the 5 things are, so I know that number one was talking about money. One of them was talking about reading out loud. The last one was talking about advocating for yourself. One of them was about moving on, and then I don't know what, I think the third one is the one I forgot, but I will watch this video and put this timestamps in it and hopefully just help somebody out with this video. This video is 25 minutes long. Okay, that's not bad. Or 26 now, but hopefully I help some of you, and maybe you take some examples from me and incorporate it into your own life, no matter how old you are. I don't know who my demographic is, if this video even gets out anywhere. But yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. Maybe next time I'm in the Rocket League car, I will be showing you guys some list and a preset list where I actually have my thoughts written down. But this channel is really about me doing impromptu speaking to get better with my voice, and yeah, this is what this video has become, and I'm thankful for you guys to come watch, and that's all I have for you guys today. So this was Justin and Nano, and I'll see you on the next video, and it'll definitely probably be on my Nano again. So thank you again, and have a great night.